For 2014, we have picked a theme that for me is a kind of a dream come true.
It's something that we had talked about doing for several years.
This year's theme of the Gangrene Film Festival, I specifically as an individual am more than proud to announce it as the Gangrene Film Festival Esquivel.
Now for 2014, Gangrene Film Festival 15 reveals Esquivel.
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 Who's Esquivel?
People ask me every year, what's the theme gonna be? What's the theme gonna be for Gangrene? And this year I've said, well, the theme is Esquivel.
Esquivel?
And they're like, what? Esquivel?
He's the guy that did the glass art?
And my response is always the same. I just smile to myself and I say, you just wait, man. You just wait.
Are you sure he's not on the cooking channel?
Esquivel is gonna be the most kick-butt theme that we've ever had.
Esquivel is somebody's cat's name or something, isn't it? What's...
Why Esquivel? I think as soon as you look him up on the internet, you're gonna say, why not Esquivel?
Those that know Esquivel, you're instantaneously my friend, and I know a lot about you, even though we've never met.
He's a composer of the 50s and 60s era, and his music really should have been the soundtrack for the Gangrene Film Festival throughout its entire life.
A lot of my musical taste was learned from a lot of the board members from the Gangrene Film Festival, and it must have been back in the 90s. Somebody was listening to some music while they're working at their computer, and I just said, what is that? That is incredible. The horns are just tight, the music is just fun and quirky, and they just looked at me like, you know, that's Esquivel. Like, I should have known.
I know it's a film festival. We've always tried to celebrate music along with the films. That form of art and expression has been so much of an outlet for us, and so creative, and it's so much fun to share. That feeling, that excitement that Esquivel has in his music, we can't help but try to encapsulate and try to, you know, carry on and push through with the films as well.
When people hear Esquivel in the proper situation, the proper circumstances, they fall in love with him.
There is only one Esquivel, and Harvey's Resort Hotel, Lake Tahoe, has him. Esquivel, I think you opened here about 3 years ago at the Pavilion Room. It was a brand new room at the time, and you opened it up, is that correct?
Yes, we had that privilege 3 years ago.
And this led your career, of course. $1 million contract came later from one of the big hotels in Las Vegas.
Well, our main stay every year is at the Stardust Hotel, and we signed a 5-year contract with them to perform a minimum of 6 months every year. Mm-hmm. We have been very lucky.
He exuded this genius of music. He played a lot in Vegas. He would open up occasionally for Frank Sinatra, and he even had his own show for a while. It was at the Stardust, and the show started at midnight. And the story goes that he could and would wake up in the morning and compose the entire show, work the band throughout the day, and he would have a whole new book of new music to play, whether they were his strange, eccentric covers of songs that existed or his original work.
If you listen to Esquivel, you can't help but love him. It's just fun. The music, you can't help but smile. There's something about it that's just magical.
It's talent, it's craft, it's ethic, it's beauty, all wrapped up into one, but with its own vision. I mean, he's not trying to be everybody else. He says, this is the kind of music I want to make, and that's what he made.
And it wasn't too long ago that you came from Mexico City. I think it was in 1958.
Actually, 1959 was in the end of the year, and RCA Victor brought me to this country as musical director for RCA in New York.
After his career sort of wrapped up, he headed off into obscurity and didn't come back until the mid-90s, when suddenly everybody was listening to Esquivel. Esquivel, I worked at an ad agency at the time, and Esquivel was kind of the, oh, have you heard of this Esquivel? He's so nutty, and they were all listening to Esquivel. Well, Little did they know that Esquivel had been with me for my entire life.
My personal experience with Esquivel and his music, it's a bit of a story, and it goes way back. My mom, when we were young kids, went to a band fundraiser, and they put all this stuff out on a table. Things came out of people's homes.
After the auction was over, she was able to grab a few relics from the auction that were not sold and bring them home. One of the things that she brought home was a gigantic box of LPs.
This orange box full of records, LPs.
And so I and my little brothers, we started flipping through these LPs and playing them on the phonograph that we had, and just having a great time learning about all these new artists that we didn't know about. They were 50s and 60s era LPs. And there were a few that we liked. There were some artists in there. We were particularly drawn to some of the space age bachelor pad kind of stuff. There was Lenny D and Bent Fabric and a couple of others.
All of a sudden we came across an album, Esquivel Exploring New Sounds in Stereo. And it was immediately compelling to us. The cover had Esquivel himself sitting on a bar stool, propped up, leaning against the most hilarious telescope, mounted upon the most hilarious tripod for the telescope. And the way that he was smiling, the way that he was posed, everything was just instantaneously funny first.
We just listened to that forever. We choreographed dances to it. We just played it and played it and played it, and I still love it.
The music was awesome, hilarious. It's exactly what a kid would want to listen to. And the thing about it is even to this day, my opinion has not changed about the way in which I enjoy that music.
Esquivel he offered a lot to us as kids, but as I grew up with the music, I learned, as I became a musician myself, that not only was the music fun and quirky, but Esquivel is a freaking genius. The technology that he was using during his era is out of sight. It was space-aged. The recording techniques that he was using were they were right on the edge.
With this impressive record, you must have quite an educational background. What is your background for you do all your own scoring and your arrangements, and what is it generally?
Well, I can tell you that I'm an electronic engineer. That's my career, actually. And I switched to music, perhaps because I think that music pulled me a little more than electronics, actually. Frankly, I started making money with music, and I hadn't made any money at the time with the electronic business, so I think that that was one of the reasons.
You think music is going to be it from now on rather than the electrical field?
Oh, yes, of course. Actually, you know, I try to utilize many of the things that I learned in electronics for sound, for my sounds. And
what are some of those innovations that you do use?
well, actually, it's a very difficult thing to say, because people ask me when they haven't heard, they say, what kind of music do you play? And I don't know what kind of music do we play. I know that I write the arrangements according to what I feel in the moment. And then I'm very lucky because I have the chance to listen to the arrangements almost immediately.
Finally, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that soundtrack and put it where it belongs, with the Gangrene Film Festival.
Do not miss the Gangrene Film Festival. There's nothing like it in the world. There's not another festival of its type. It's unique, it's surprising, it's laugh out loud funny.
Don't miss this one.
This goes out to all the fans and the directors out there. You have to come this year, because there is going to be cool things that I don't even know about yet.
If somebody came up to me when I was a little kid flipping through a case of records, and as I was discovering Esquivel said, one day you will perform Esquivel music, I wouldn't have believed it. And you just kind of have to be there to see it. So absolutely do not miss this year.
What watching, they call it Esquivel.